Good evening, Mr. Adam Mockler. And how are you doing, young sir? 5 o'clock in the West Coast time. Forgive about to get whining. That's my dog going nuts. January 5th, 2025. Weaver, John C. of Roseman, California. The guy that does the Diary of a Griever named John Weaver, which is me. Alright. So we're talking about Hegseth going after Kelly and being a pain in the ass? Or shall we switch over to the United Nations Charter, which you failed to look at? I've got my videos posting up right now, slowly loading as hell. That's what happens when you have an old computer being worked on by an old fuddy-duddy. Okay. I think Jake forgot, because he got so rattled with old Motormouth. Motormouth was trying to make this big stink about we're the superpower, we're the biggest bully around over here, and we should. He hasn't read anything and doesn't care about the United Nations Charter concerning about the people involved in this thing. Shall I take you through it? Alright, schmuck. Let's have some fun. Okay. I want you to go over to unitednations.org. You got a search engine, dude. Use it. You're going over to one of the chapters over here. You're going over to chapter 7. Action with respect to threats to the peace, breaches of the peace, and acts of aggression. We're talking about Article 39 all the way through Article, 51. You're reading homework for tonight, kid. And understand that a threat to one United Nations member is a threat to everybody, much like NATO. Oh, and these guys keep forgetting this shit, don't they? You didn't see it on YouTube, did you? But it's out there. The Security Council was going nuts over it. Several nations out there in the Caribbean and Europe were given their 2 cents worth on this one. And they were pissed. They were absolutely pissed and livid at Trump and the United States of America. Not to mention that the representative that we had out there, she was getting her ass torn apart. When you attack another nation like this, there's supposed to be some kind of action happening within the United Nations. But then again, has to be a unanimous decision in the council, in the Security Council, to make movement necessary to blockade or stop in any way what the United States has been doing. And since the United States has a veto, they'll say no, and then everything else isn't unanimous. And therefore, we've got this going. Congress, I don't know if they're going to be voting against Trump at the time of this video. Probably they will, but hopefully they should. And if not, well, they're just as equally worthless like the government we voted in. And the thing with Adam, everybody keeps forgetting this. The United States voters, registered, are responsible for all of this mess. We had the choice. We made it. The wrong one. So now we're dealing with the consequences of that action. So the question is, now what do we do? You're a big brain for your kid, yet your youth. I'm going to be turning 60 this month, dude. I've seen too much of this crap. I've also seen how people kept trying to compare it to one thing or another, including what some of our presidents have done in the past. And there were special circumstances in each situation. Kennedy was stupid enough to do the Bay of Pigs. Got caught for it. And that didn't turn out too well for Cuba or for the rest of us. Tried to do a regime change in Iran. Well, we had the Iranian Revolutionary Guard coming in there and kicking out the Shah of Iran, which was supposed to have been a United States puppet, I think, from what I heard and what I learned a long time ago. Iraq was a different story altogether. This guy wasn't U.S. propped. It was just pure nuts. Absolute nuts. And he took over power. And he took over a lot of things. We're talking about Saddam Hussein. I don't call him Hussein. I call him insane because he was. Had to take 2 wars to get the son of a bitch out of office and beheaded. The first time was pushing him out of Kuwait, and we had a coalition during that time. Authorized, sanctioned, and other countries signed on to it, including the Middle East. They didn't want Saddam going nuts and taking over Kuwait, not to mention disturbing the oil market. But the second time around, Junior George W. Bush, he was going to clean up Daddy's mess. Claimed that we had weapons of mass destruction. We found out that he didn't. But they got him out of power and people killed him. Shot him. So, dead. In Afghanistan, that's a duck hunt. We were looking for Osama. We found him. We killed him. Took us long enough, but we got him. While trying to stabilize the country a little bit, but the Taliban was in pure control. Trump made the moves. Trump made the deals. And unfortunately, Biden had to follow through. So I got screwed up. So yeah, I blame Trump on that one. Now, since we got Stephen Miller running everything else, I don't know who's power hungry, Trump or Miller, or the rest of his gang. And I saw the clip. I think somewhere out there on CNN, they've also got the clip as well for that one, where he's absolutely thermonuclear. This man was born out in California, dude. Santa Monica, and he had to go crazy on this shit. And he has to push people back. He's got to push people back. I don't get it with this lunatic, except he likes power, control, and everything else going hell in a handbasket. But he's making his point that we're like the Roman Empire. Getting to be that way for the Americas. Both North, Middle, and South. They have no regard for NATO or for the United Nations. None. Representatives, but that's about it. They're running on pure ego. They're running on pure hatred. And they're going to be pushing more of the edge. We are going to get ourselves into a war, not just with Venezuela or with the Americas. We're going to be getting in a war with the United Nations over this. They're not going to take it too happy. They're going to keep pushing it in the Security Council like crazy. They're going to keep pushing and pressuring the United States ambassador to vote their way or else. And if I was the United Nations at this point, I'd give them that or else. But follow this logic through, okay? Once you give them the ultimate or else, you have to have something legally to back it up. What can the United Nations do at this point? Think outside the box. Where is the United Nations headquartered? And how long will it take for security forces to surround and entrap, hold hostage? I wouldn't put it past Miller, let alone Trump, or Noem, or Hegseth, or even Bondi, to come up with a plan to do that to the United Nations. Not a conspiracy. Just an ugly feeling and an ugly thought. If we're going to be starting World War III, or we're already in it right now, this would be an explosive confrontation. I'm looking at it, trying to be calm about it, because overreacting like I've seen other people of what's happening. Trump is nuts. We voted the bastard in, but we never held ourselves accountable, transparent, or responsible for it. Neither have you. I have to do the same thing with myself. Hold myself to that level. I didn't vote for the bastard, but I didn't do enough to keep the bastard out either. Legally and vocally. So I failed in that. Trump wants what he wants because he's working with the $1 billion boys club, and they want the oil revenues. Screw Venezuela. They want their pumps back. I don't know which companies we got out there, but they want their pumps back, according to what they think, but not what Venezuela thinks. Regarding Maduro and his gang, they're established, and they're going to try to put the pressure down on the government to say, you're going to do it our way or else. We're going to blow you up. And Venezuela and Colombia are going, bring it on, asshole. I wouldn't be surprised if this got brought up to The Hague. I would not be surprised if Trump and the administration was brought up to The Hague on this one. At least in documentation. But you know what would have surprised the hell out of me on this one? Is if somebody decided to do the same tactics on the United States, how would we react to it? We don't have the massive fleets protecting homeland. We got them abroad. The only ones we got right now is the Caribbean fleet. How fast would they be able to get up to New York? And do we have reserve force out there in Norfolk? I have to think about these things. Logistics. Trump doing his act and talking to people the way he's been doing, he's acting as if he is a tyrant at this point. Because he doesn't believe in the law. He's already had that mobster mentality growing up, and not to mention doing his shuck and con on a lot of people. But now since he's got the power, he's got the mobster. And his army is the United States military. Hegseth going after Senator Kelly just to shut him up. And he knows Kelly's not going to shut him up. So he figures the only way to do him, to do Kelly in, is to denigrate him in courts and denigrate him in public by stripping his rank and taking away his money. But Kelly is still a senator. He's still a sitting senator. Hegseth can't do anything about that particular position. And if it behooves the United States Senate, they can always hold a hearing with Hegseth in there so they can grill his ass again. And probably do something to Hegseth as well. Not to mention there could be legal challenges going through the court systems on this one. Military courts, if necessary, but the civilian courts as well. We're not seeing or hearing the last of this. This is still going to be an ongoing situation. Now regarding Miller in this situation, that guy you'd really, really want to put into a straitjacket. Other people would like to put a duct tape on his mouth. Keep him shut up. Now let him rant and rave in a straitjacket in a padded room for the rest of his existence. And about the counterpart, oh, she can post stuff out there all she wants. All she's doing is pissing off the country, the rest of the countries, and she don't care, because she's still being another mouth. It's like dealing with Charlie Kirk's wife, and that's another issue right there, isn't it? Who says 2026 wasn't going to be boring, or was going to be boring? We'll talk, kid. We'll talk. That being said.